Here's my advice for someone wanting to be a buyer's agent. So, buyer's agents are basically individuals that represent a buyer on their behalf to negotiate and source and find a great property for yourself as a buyer. Buyer's agents, when I started DDP nearly 14 years ago, was a very new term. There was kind of foreign term, like what is a buyer's agent? Thankfully, in Australia, it is becoming more and more common to have buyer's agents in Australia. However, what does it take to be a good buyer's agent? And in running a company, not just being an individual buyer's agent myself, but in running a company of a real estate buyer's agency network, is that you've just got to care for the client. It's a big difference, in my view, personal view, between a selling agent and a buyer's agent. A buyer's agent has to have a vested interest in the buyer to ensure that their needs and requirements are looked after. And that is the first part of it. If you cannot comprehend with that and go, you know what, I want to represent buyers and I want to make sure they're looked after and get a great deal, kind of like a lawyer that represents one party to look after their interests, that is the first requirement. An interest, a vested interest to look after the buyer. The second, of course, is understanding your client's needs and customers' needs and understanding what they're looking for. And the third is the ability to negotiate. And negotiating is a skill. It is a learned skill. It's not like even for me personally that I'm born with. It's a skill that I've learned. It's a skill I've gone to seminars, education, mentors, etc. Because you've got to always negotiate between two parties. That is a selling agent and the buyer, and you're in the middle. So negotiating is a key skill, but it is a learned skill. So if I was to summarize, what does it take to be a good buyer's agent? Is number one, that you've got to have a deep passion, deep interest in looking after a buyer. Number two, understanding your buyer's requirements and needs. And number three, a great ability and skill, which is a learned skill, in negotiating on your behalf.